Hey, this is Knife Standards. Today I'm going to be doing my full review of the Chaves Scapegoat. But first, please follow me at Knife Standards. You can follow me on Instagram. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for a lot more knife content and weekly knife reviews. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and get into it. And let's talk Chaves. So this is a knife that I wanted for quite a while, and I would have been happy with any variation. I kind of lucked out and got myself the carbon fiber, the PVD coated. Actually, let me see. Let's see if this is. Do they say PVD? Nah, it just says exclusive blackout carbon fiber show side Scapegoat Street. So I guess there is a larger version of the Scapegoat, which I have not seen. This is the street version. So for the Rendition, it's street means just kind of scaled down, a little bit smaller version of the same knife, same aesthetics, as far as I know, same everything else, just a little bit smaller. So anyway, I think this was a Blade HQ exclusive, and when I went to buy it, the site crashed and all this, and I couldn't log in, and all this, it wasn't, it was giving me an error message, blah, blah, blah. So I got lucky, I got a hold of this. It's carbon fiber. They had other versions in, I think, micarta, and maybe, I know they had titanium ones, and I think just kind of plain black G10. The G10 doesn't do it for me, especially that type of G10. It's kind of that rough, kind of gritty G10, which I don't like. So I would have been fine with a regular plain titanium one, or micarta. It's not my favorite, but anyway, I got the carbon fiber. That's what matters. Long story short, this was the version that I ended up with. Very happy with this carbon fiber, coated blade, titanium clip side. Of course, we got M390 blade steel. Very clip pointy, pokey blade shape. I would consider this a clip point because we have this clip near the point. You see the Chaves key skull logo, which I think looks particularly badass in or on the coated blade. So the white on the black blade. M390 blade steel. We saw that already. It is a titanium frame lock, as you can see. Show side scale, this weave carbon fiber, and then of course titanium on the clip side. Yes, this knife comes with the skull clip. If you're worried about that, it also comes with, let's see, got the box right here. It also comes with the plain clip, which, I mean, it's fine. I guess that's a good option because people were complaining about the skull clip. I think that the skull clip looks awesome. I'm a huge fan. I think it looks great, and ergonomically, it's super comfortable. Zero hot spots on this clip. So not only does it look great, but it's also really comfortable. So win-win in my book for the skull clip. Now let's go ahead and do a quick size comparison, and then we will talk ergos, how this thing carried, and kind of how it's smoothed out and broken in over the last week or two. Let's go ahead and get this guy out. I also have another carbon fiber knife, the Southern Grind Zero Customer Service Spider Monkey, and then let's go ahead and bust out the VBR, which has been living on my desk lately. Let's get these measured up. We'll start with the Southern Grind Spider Monkey. Got about 3 1/4 and 7.5 overall. For the Scapegoat, got about 3 inches of actual cutting length, but I'm going to call that 3.5 of total blade length, and then just under 8 total length. And then the VBR, we got about 3.5 and 8. So this is a medium-sized knife. I would consider this kind of classic, at least for my hands, my size categories, classic medium-sized knife. Still EDC friendly, I'm curious to see if this is the street version. I'm curious to see the full-size Scapegoat, which I'm sure is huge. You can see that the Spider Monkey and the Scapegoat are similar. Scapegoat, of course, a taller blade, a little bit larger. I would consider this, I mean, this isn't a small knife, but for these purposes, maybe medium, and then the VBR just gets into the large category. So I'll go ahead and kind of hold these up, and then I will get the VBR out of the way. And we can just check out the carbon fiber real quick, little carbon fiber comparison. So it's interesting. They both look like weave carbon fiber. Let me hold that so everyone can see. But this is really kind of smoothed down and milled and kind of, well, let me see. Yeah, there's this cool little milling pattern in the Spider Monkey. And then the very classic Chaves thing to do is just kind of like a block of carbon fiber. We've got a block of titanium on one side, block of carbon fiber on the other side. And it's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not a criticism. But that's what it is. So, which some people love. I don't mind it at all. I think it's cool. I don't mind it in pocket or in hand. Some people aren't into it. I think it's fine. This is more contour. That's the word, contoured and kind of rounded out, a little bit more ergonomic looking and feeling on the Spider Monkey. But for me, for my hands, I kind of like this, the kind of square, neutral handle. So for my hand, I actually like that. I don't need something, rounded and curved and conformed to my hand, that conforms to my hand. So I'll go ahead and get the Spider Monkey out of the way, and let's go ahead and talk about action. So the action of this right out of the box was super, super stiff, really kind of brutal detent, harsh detent. And immediately I put a couple drops of oil on the detent ball to see if that would smooth it out. Oh, fail. See if that would smooth it out. And I'm trying to do the middle finger flick. It works, but it's a little iffy. And the oil helped. The more I played with this knife and carried it, the more it smoothed out, which is not the case for all knives, but it worked for this one. It smoothed out, got a little bit easier. The detent lightened up just a touch. You can see it's still stiff. And as far as like acoustics and how this thing fires, I mean, it's rock solid. You're not gonna fail. Although I did just fail it with my middle finger like that. But with your thumb, you're not failing it. I mean, it's stiff and snappy. And again, that kind of goes along with at least the Chaves knives that I've handled. They're kind of, a little rough around the edges, a little bit stiff, but beefy, overbuilt, built like a tank. So they're not gonna fail on you. You can kind of beat them up and, abuse them a little bit, and they will hold up. There we go. Middle finger flick worked. And so action is solid. Again, this action is not going to be for everyone. It's stiff and snappy and also reliable, which is not everyone's cup of tea. For a thumb stud deployment knife, I think this is excellent. Oh, I forgot to mention, we have flat grind, actually fairly thin flat grind. The edge was phenomenal from Riot. Of course, these are production knives that Chaves designs, and then they are produced by Riot in China, and Riot does a pretty damn good job. So what is next? We talked about action. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lockup. Lockup looks solid. There is a lock bar insert in there, even though it is the same color as the scale. And if you hear my stomach grumbling, yes, it is almost lunchtime. I am hungry, so I will be getting lunch after this video. We have the lock bar relief cut on the outside. Didn't bother me in pocket. And of course the hardware, let's go ahead and double check. I think this is T8. Yep, T8. And then, are they all T8? No. Oh yeah. All right. Well, that is a big improvement, because I think the old Chaves were not all T8, if I recall correctly. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about ergos. This knife has very kind of neutral, solid, you know, not overly comfortable. I'm not like, it's melting into my hand, but it's just like, it's good. These are good ergos. I would consider them neutral ergos, which is fine. There's no hot spots. I'm not getting any rough edges or pokey spots. If you kind of go along the carbon fiber, you can definitely feel like these corners are sharp, but it does not bother me in hand when I'm using the knife or when I'm holding it. It feels, overall, it is comfortable. There is a forward finger choil that I can get into, but the way that they left the edge right here, it's I don't know, it's a little bit, oh my gosh, my stomach is grumbling. Almost time for food. All right, so the way that, I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna get myself just like, it's just close. I don't know. I feel like when I've been tempted to use the choil, I've been a little bit concerned about that edge, which is not the case on all knives, but it's just sticking out. I don't know. So anyway, when I've used this knife, I've chosen to keep my hand back a little bit. You know what? Let's go ahead and compare it to the VBR. See, now this for me is a better finger choil. I don't feel like I'm going to slice the side of my finger. The edge is a little bit rounded out towards the back. You guys can see here. I'll hold it up. And again, this is not going to bother everyone, but personally, I feel a little bit better about, a little bit, more comfortable, safer about holding this finger choil and not accidentally slicing myself over the, that tip is a little, not that tip, well, I guess it's a tip. That edge is just a little bit too close for comfort. Anyway, if you kind of hold back and kind of pull back, this is actually pretty nice. I can kind of push up against the top of the scale, still use the finger choil, and of course I'm getting all 4 fingers on this knife. Ergo's very good. The clip feels great in hand. And I forgot to mention the closing action, which did smooth out a lot. A couple shakes and a close. This could actually use a couple more drops of oil. I've carried this for a few days now. It's starting to dry up just a little bit. You can see the action is pretty smooth getting there. Now, this does not happen with all knives, but this edge does kind of clunk my finger, because a lot of times I will like to close my knives and kind of see the drop shuttiness, and that kind of gets the top of my nail and stops it. So it's not just a small detail, not a huge thing. Oh, also, I don't think this has a detent ball ramp. I have not disassembled this. I cannot see it, but it's just a little bit to get past the detent ball. It's just a little bit stiff. And once it gets past, of course, it's smooth, a couple shakes, and it closes, but kind of gets hung up right there. Not a big deal. Of course, this is running on bearings. Let's check the centering. Looks great. We have nice backspacer that is smoothed out, fits really well. Let's go ahead and talk. What is next? Oh, yeah. So carrying this knife was comfortable. I really like the way that the clip sits in my pocket. It also looks cool. I don't know if anyone's noticing that it's a skull. I don't think people really care. But looked good, felt great in my pocket. This is not a light knife, even though it is a carbon fiber show side scale. Not a light knife, but it carried well. I mean, it's nothing to complain about there. felt good in my pocket. And, you know, you guys know how I feel about thumb stud knives. I like it. Now, are these the most comfortable thumb studs ever? No, not really. They're kind of big and clunky, but do they work? They work. You know, you're not going to miss, if you're wearing gloves or something, you're not going to miss the thumb studs. You're not going to like misfire. They are sticking out very, you know, thick and proud, and you're not going to accidentally whiff the thumb studs. So big thumb studs, kind of blocky scales, which is fine. That's, you know, that's, I think the people that buy Chaves knives, they know what they're getting. You know, I knew what I was getting, and I like it. I think when you expect something else, that's when you might be disappointed. Now, as far as downsides go, I've been kind of talking about specs and details, and so far it's been you know, pretty positive. Downsides, D10 is a little stiff. You know, it could be more comfortable. I do like to middle finger flick my thumb stud knives. I think that's fun and satisfying. It's a little bit stiff to flick. It's a little bit, you know, the D10 is a little bit tough. And if you're flicking and flipping this knife all day long, your thumb is going to get chewed up. That's partially due to the stiff D10 and partially due to these, you know, chunky thumb studs. Again, not a big deal, but got to put that out there. There are a couple sharp corners, as I said, on the carbon fiber. The titanium, little bit sharp on this edge. So, little bit sharp. The actual carbon fiber is very smooth, but just on the corners, a little bit pokey. Does not bother me for ergos, but I gotta categorize that as a downside. Also, this little bit of the edge is very close to my finger in the finger choil, so I gotta categorize that as a downside as well. Overall, I think this is a very solid knife. You can't beat the aesthetics. Looks amazing. I love, you know, I'm not a huge weave carbon fiber fan, but after so much marble carbon fiber and shred carbon fiber and all the other types, it's nice to see just kind of the classic weave carbon fiber. So for this knife, that looks amazing. Coated blade looks great. I am a huge Chaves fan. I love his knives, and this one is no exception. Do I like the Redention better? Yes, I have that kind of up next for review in the next few days. I'll be getting that guy back into pocket before my review, and then I don't know what he's doing next. I don't know what knife is coming out next, but I will be you know, keeping an eye out for it. Once you get used to the D10, it's not bad, but it's just, if you're expecting some smooth, super kind of light, flickable, smooth D10 with, you know, drop shut action, this is not quite it. The Redention is, I might do a comparison video. The Redention is the smoother knife, although that D10 is also on the stiff side. Anyway, I might do a video where I compare the two. I do have a Chaves TAC, the TAK, tiny ass knife, and that's the smoothest Chaves that I've come across. It's like buttery, drop shut, smooth, and it is a flipper. So interesting. I might do a comparison actually of all three. But yeah, we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Knife Standards. I will catch you later.